Let's not make this video way too long. This is a Should You Pull video where I'll assess all of the new operators in the upcoming video, which is Dorceless Holiday. There are 4 characters to review, which is Tequila, Pluma, Mizuki, and Chen Alter. I'm gonna do them all in this order, and we shall figure out whether it's worth to pull for them or to build them once you get them. So, let's start off with Tequila. Tequila is a new operator with a new archetype. It's known as a Liberator Guard. Liberator Guards has a very interesting new trait which states that normally he wouldn't attack anyone at all and his block count will be 0. There are very rare occurrences that he suddenly wants to block someone and attack them, but if not, it will never happen. When skill is not active, his attack will gradually increase up to a certain maximum amount, and the attack increase will reset after the skill ends. So I believe the attack increase will be 2 times of his base attack. So for instance, if he has 250 attack, it can go all the way up to 500 attack. It takes 40 seconds for him to reach the maximum amount, I think. 20 seconds is for a little bit of an increase. So each second, the attack will just keep going up and up and up, basically. Alright, he's a Nuka Guard, interesting tag that is given to him. Let's take a look at his art over here. That is his E2 art. Goodness sake, this is a heck of a beautiful operator. I've heard some people doing comparisons for Tequila, where they said that Tequila looks like Tartaglia from Genshin Impact, but I don't think there's a need to make such comparisons. I think this is just him in the beautiful game of Arknights, and honestly, he just looks like a good doggo boy himself. Extremely cute, extremely good looking, and I'm already super tempted to build him just from his art alone. I think this is one of the bestest arts I've seen all around. Alright, it's a golden retriever operator, I believe, based on the dog that is shown here and even his entire look. Alright, let's go down. Let's take a look at his other talents. So his talent states that when skill is not active, he will deal arts damage equal to 10% or 20% at E2 to the target when Tequila is attacked. So this probably only applies to ranged enemies, I would think. When ranged enemies attack him while he's having his block count 0, they will receive arts damage back onto them. So this helps to do that kind of chip damage that could actually help to kill some of the smaller mobs. It's a pretty decent skill. I'm surprised that this is given to a guard, because normally such skills are on a defender if you think about it. People like Bubble, Hoshiguma and Nien have skills where they stop attacking, and then afterwards when people attack them, they receive some kind of damage. So very fascinating, and let alone the fact that this is given to a welfare operator as well, making his entire kit already pretty interesting to look forward to. Alright, let's take a look at his stuff. So Elite 1, he's got 15 resistance. Holy crap, that is a lot of health. 3000 health at Elite 1 maximum. That's almost a defender trait right there. And his defense is actually pretty good. It's 425. Attack can be a little low, 256, but as mentioned, his attack will charge over time. I believe his trust gives him attack as well. Yeah, his trust does give him attack. So let's look at Elite 2. At Elite 2, level 30, the attack goes to 273, defense goes to 453, health is still very high, and all the other stuff. The attack interval is 1.2 seconds for 1 hit. He has a block count of 3. This is if he's actually blocking anyone. His DP cost is 13, very cheap of an operator to deploy. So that's that. Redeployment time is 70. Gotta note that because you will probably get him at potential, so it will cut his redeployment by 10 seconds. Alright, let's take a look at his skill 1. His skill 1 states that attack speed will increase by 38, or if not 38%, attacks deal 150% physical damage. So again, you probably want to multiply this by 2, because you're allowing his attack to charge up, right, to about 2 times. So he could go all the way up to, say, 600 attack. So 150% of 600 attack is going to be about, say, 800 damage at rank 7. It's decent, but it's only a 1 target skill. It's a little low. I would have preferred using Taunts in this case, or even Silver Ash skill 1 might have been stronger. I think even Lab 9 is stronger as well, just for the skill 1 part. The good thing is that the attack speed is fast, so it helps to sweep away some of the low defense and mid defense enemies. But to the higher defense one, this one could have a little bit of a problem. Let me just bump it up to M3. M3, it deals 170% physical damage, and the attack speed is buffed up even more. So plus 50 would mean plus 50%. It's about times 1.5 speed of his usual attack speed. It's decent, but I don't find this skill all too amazing. This shouldn't be the skill that you usually use for Tequila. I believe the usual skill will lie on his skill 2. So if we look at his skill 2, Esoteric Blade Work, it's a 20 SP cost skill, initial SP 10 when you are at rank 7. so it's a per second charge, and it's a 15-second duration. So he will expand his attack range as what you see over here down below. It's a very slight extended range, it's only 3 additional tiles, attacks 2 targets simultaneously, and the attacks will deal 200% physical damage. So that's pretty decent already. We're talking about something along the line of more than 1,000 attack. It's about 1,300, 1,400 attack that's going on over there. Oh, and this is an interesting one. So it's a welfare operator getting a charged effect. So charge effect is something that you see on Carnelian, whereby you see her skill charge once, and then afterwards her skill can charge a second time for an even stronger variant of a skill. So after your skill charge for this 20 SP, you can charge it for another 20 SP to enter this charge effect. Attacks 3 targets simultaneously, and the skill duration is extended to 30 seconds instead. So this is a pretty damn decent skill. Considering how fast it is, it only takes 40 SP cost, even better if you have some SP charging people like Telopsis. It's because of this skill that a lot of people like to call Tequila a mini Silver Ash. He's someone who can swipe down quite a lot of enemies, and he swipes down with a pretty high physical damage. Of course, his damage is still lower than Silver Ash, and he doesn't hit 6 targets like Silver Ash does, but 3 targets, fast charging skill at 40 SP, and the fact that it deals quite a decent amount of damage, I would say that Tequila is actually a pretty strong 5-star himself, and it's even more surprising because he's a welfare operator, meaning to say that for those of you who want to enjoy some free units that enters your account, I have to say that Tequila could be a decent build. The only trouble with Tequila is that you have to get use of the fact that he doesn't attack when his skill is not active. So you're only going to see him sit down there brandishing his sword while he prepares for the next attack, and if let's say you want him to do something and his skill is not ready, you got to hope that your other operators are ready to do the killing. So that's a downside. It needs you to get used to the fact that he's basically like a guard variant of certain people who don't attack while skill is inactive, like Carnelian, Beeswax, and Angelina, except in a melee form. So that's all there is to it. I find this operator to be actually pretty damn decent, and honestly, I mean, look at this art. Do you not want to build him? I mean, I am definitely into it because I think it's just way too well drawn with the art. I think his chibi art is also amazing. He has a very fun skill to play. Overall, recommended build, not a must, but is it very fun of an operator? I would say yes, it's an especially fun operator. Alright, that's that for Tequila. Let's move on to La Pluma. I find it fascinating as to how Arknights is introducing a lot of new archetypes. So La Pluma is also a new archetype herself. She's known as a Reaper Guard. She has a scythe that is her main weapon. It's honestly very deadly looking of a weapon to own, and it's interesting how the weapon looks larger than her as a person. That's fascinating overall. She has a very pretty outlook over here. I was a big fan of her when I saw her drop in Arknights CN. I thought she was a very pretty operator, and I think it's especially so because of the E2 art that she has. Look at that, that is beautiful. It's a stunning operator to own. I'm excited to have her, and I do think she's a pretty strong operator to own all around. I'll explain why in a bit. We gotta figure out what Reaper Guards do in the first place. Let me go back to her E1 art. I think her E1 art is pretty itself. Alright, let's look at the trait. So the trait says that she cannot be healed by allies. So she's kind of an enmity guard herself. But she's not considered the same class as the enmity guard, because for the first time this guard does something completely different from the other enmity ones. Attacks instead will deal AoE damage. And hear me out on this, the AoE damage has no enemy limit, meaning to say even though she is able to only block 2 people, I believe, at Elite 1 and Elite 2, she is able to deal AoE damage to all of the enemies in her range. So it's kind of like a spread shooter. If you think about people like Chen Alter or Executor or Pinecone, they are able to hit everyone in their range. But La Pluma basically becomes the guard variant of these people, and is topped up with the fact that she's unable to be healed by other allies. So every time she hits an enemy, she's able to recover a certain amount of HP, up to the block count. I suppose it meant that if let's say she's hitting 2 enemies, then she's able to heal even more. She won't heal a lot if there's like 7 enemies or 8 enemies. If it's 1 enemy, she'll heal 50 HP per hit. If there are 2 enemies, she will heal 100 HP per hit. Anything more than 2 enemies is still going to be 100 HP per hit. So that's that. Take note, it's already pretty damn powerful if you think about it. Alright, let's look at her skills. But before that, let's look at the ASPD. So increase ASPD by +3 at Elite 1 stacks up to 8 times. So meaning her ASPD can increase by about +24. That's 24% increase in the attack speed. If you have her at Elite 2, it stacks up to 12 times, so it will be +36. It means that her attack speed can increase by 36% maximum. That is a lot if you think about it. She has a attack power increase for her thrust, and her defense increases for potential. There's no talent improvement, sadly. It would have been cool if there are. Let's look at the traits of her. So if I put her at Elite 2 level 30, she has 409 defense, decent defense as well, kind of like Tequila, except Tequila is a little higher. Her attack is 588, health is 2008, there's no arts resistance, the DP cost is a little high, it's 22, it's about the same as an AoE guard, I would say. Blocks 2, attack interval 1.3 seconds, but it can fall below 1 second if you have her ASPD stacked up when she does all the enemy kills. Redeployment time is 70 seconds, unless you have potential, which will drop it down by up to 60 seconds. Alright, let's look at her skills. For her skills, her first one is an offensive recovery skill, meaning it only gains SP per hit. It takes 3 SP on rank 7. It's called Rapid Slashing of a skill. The next attack will deal 2 hits, with each hit dealing 135% damage. Okay, so it's like a double slash kind of thing. It's interesting enough, I think it could do double healing as well, since she heals per hit. And with an extended amount of damage, it means that her damage can go up to, say, 700, 800 amount. For an AoE, it's decent enough. It helps to tear down the smaller defense or the mid-defense enemies. If we have it at M3, it drops down to SP cost 2, so much faster of a skill. I think the SP cost 2 starts at M3, yep, correct. It's only at M3. Each hit will deal 165% damage. So it's a decent increase, I would say, because it can now go up as high as about almost 1,000 attack, or even slightly higher than 1,000 attack at E230. Think if you consider 1,000 attack for an AoE guard, and let alone an AoE guard that has no limit to the number of people it hits, this can be quite daily of skill, I would say. But that's only skill 1. I think skill 2 might have something even more interesting lying behind it. So let's take a look at that. Alright, skill 2 says Reap, so it's a short form for the word Reaper. SP cost is 44, initial SP is 30, and it's a per second charge skill. 25 seconds of the duration, it moderately reduces her attack interval, or it's another way to say her attack speed increases. Attack plus 55%, so it could go up to as high as slightly over 1,000 damage at just rank 7. And E230 as well. When attacking enemies with less than 50% HP, the attack is further increased by plus 40%. So if an enemy has half health, she's going to make sure that she can kill them by doing even harder hits to them. And this can actually bypass some of the high defense enemies as well, because the attack could go as high as, say, 1,300, I would think. I think it can be about 1,300, 1,400 at E230, skill rank 7. And if we pull it up to M3, M3 says highly reduced attack interval by 50%. Her attack speed is multiplied by 2. She's gonna attack super fast with this particular skill at Mastery 3. Attack plus 70% is already very high. When attacking enemies with less than 50% HP, further increases the attack by plus 50%. So it's like a 120% increase. In that case, right, once you turn on this skill after the 40 SP is reached, for 25 seconds, her attack could go up to, say, as high as 1,500, 1,600. It's already crazy of an amount, and I'm really surprised that he gave it to an operator that has no limit to the number of enemies she can hit. I would say that La Pluma is a pretty damn strong 5-star. He's probably gonna be one of the stronger ones, like the highly ranked ones of the bestest of best 5 stars. I can see the utility in her, and the fact that she has high health regen, right, since she gains 50 HP per hit. This operator could be a crazy stash of herself. If you are eager to build her, please go ahead and build her. I think it's a worthy operator to invest in, and you're also investing in beautiful art as well. I believe some of you are going to set her as your operator profile on your main home screen. I'm looking at you, Drills, who might be watching this video. Anyways, that's that of this operator. Very fun. Is it a recommended build? I would say can be recommended. Pretty good for general content. Maybe not high risk CC, but for things like risk 18 CC, she's probably going to help quite a bit as well. So that's that for this operator. Super cool. I like it. Now that we're done with the 5 stars, let's go to the 6 stars. Guild operator incoming! This is Mizuki. So Mizuki is a stalker operator. It's a bit confusing of an archetype name, but she's basically the same archetype as Manticore and Ethan. She's the 6-star variant of these two, and I would say that there's some interesting kit that we're about to see from him. This is a guy, by the way, and I think he's very good looking. And if we take a look at his E2 art, his E2 art is marvelous. It's very thematic. It's also cool. It's very, I love the color scheme, the color palette of this particular operator. I think he's either considered a squid or an octopus. I'm not certain. I think it's a squid. You all let me know if it's a squid or octopus. I can't be sure. Or if he's something else that I did not expect. Alright, that's that. He's got a cute little umbrella and oh no, he's pretty cool. I just entirely... Oh wait, I understood what animal he is now. He's a jellyfish, right? My bad. So yeah, he's a jellyfish, also cute. The range exactly the same as Manticore and Ethan. DPS and crowd control. So deals damage to all targets within range and has a 50% chance to dodge physical and arts attack. Also less likely to be targeted by enemies. Alright, that's that. Let's take a look at his skills. Holy shit! What the hell is that trust? Attack, oh my god, he's able to increase his attack by 110 once you increase his trust by 100%. That is a pretty damn high amount. He has a talent enhancement at potential 4, I believe. Yep, potential 4 talent enhancement. So let's take a look at his talents. So for the first talent, it states that when attacking, deals additional arts damage equal to 30% attack at the target with the lowest HP in his range. So that is at E1. If it's at E2, he's able to deal arts damage equal to 50% attack to the target with the lowest HP. It's a pretty high boost, I would say. We have to see what is his attack amount later, but I believe that for people with Manticore archetype, their attack amount is actually pretty high. The second talent states that when there is an enemy with less than 50% HP within attack range, the attack is further increased as well. So this is when there is an enemy with less than 50% HP. So if there are no enemies, like all enemies are above 50%, he won't get an attack buff. But once there is at least one enemy with less than 50% HP, he will get an attack buff of 10%. If you have the potential, it'll be 12%. Decent, I need to see where is the use case of it, but extra attack is always appreciated. Let's take a look at his kit. We put him at E230. So at E230, health very low, 1474, but it's understandable because of this archetype. The attack, as I mentioned, very high, 748. If you have it at max trust, it's going to be 860, and 860 is honestly a lot. So he will deal about 400 arts damage to the person with the lowest HP. That is quite a bit of a monstrous talent. But for your note, for this archetype, they have the worst attack interval in the game. They attack every 3.5 seconds. So even though the 400 arts damage or 800 physical damage sounds nice, but it's gonna take a while for him to attack. Alright, it's gonna take a while for him to attack. I'm not sure if they're gonna have skills later that have like attack interval down or attack speed increase. The defense is 320, arts resistance is very high, it's 30, redeployment time 70, DP cost is 21. So all too decent, I would say. Let's take a look at the skill 1. Skill 1 states Awaken. SP cost is 8, is a per second skill. The next attack will deal 230% physical damage and increase the talent 1 damage multiplier, the one that gives the arts damage, by 2.3 times. So it raises both the physical damage and the arts damage up. It makes it such that it can actually be a very strong DPS skill against maybe say 1 or 2 enemies. I think it's decent enough, although the SP cost is a little long. 8 SP, I'm not too big of a fan of it, but although it means that it takes about 3 attacks for his next skill to be like a super strong one. It's a charge skill, by the way, so it can hold up to 2 charges. I think if you have it at M1, it's 3 charges. Yep, I'm correct. 3 charges at M1. And then if we go all the way up to this, the SP cost drop to 7. So kind of like an Ifrit skill 2 per se. But Ifrit skill 2 as the defense down kind of thing. This one is more like one enemy will receive way more damage. Decent enough. There are times that I can see skill 1 being useful, but we gotta see what skill 2 and skill 3 does. Alright, let's look at skill 2. Skill 2 says Prisoner's Dilemma. SP cost is 19, very slow. SP cost is 19, a very fast skill to use. Initial SP is 5, per second charge type, and the duration is 19 seconds. So, that's exactly what I wanted. Reduce attack interval. So it's able to attack every 2 seconds-ish now, because minus 1.2 seconds will be about 2.3 seconds per hit. Attacks plus 20%. The talent 1 will attack 1 additional enemy. So another enemy will get the arts damage amount, as we stated just now, and then inflicts bind for 1 second. So the talent 1 that inflicts on an additional enemy 2 enemies will get binded every second. It's a little slow since it still takes 2.3 seconds for him to attack each time. It's decent enough, like it will cause the enemies to slow down a little bit here and there. I wish it was a little bit better. We gotta look at M3. Let's take a look at that. M3 states that attack interval is reduced by minus 1.5 seconds, attack plus 30%, talent 1 targets 1 additional enemies and inflicts bind for 1.3 seconds. So this one's better. It means that the enemies will only be moving for about 0.7 seconds, and then they'll get bind again and they'll keep getting bind for the 21 seconds. This skill could be seen as like a better version of Ethan, because Ethan's problem is that he has a percentage chance of binding someone. This one is more like a guaranteed bind. But the difference between Ethan and him also is that Ethan can bind everyone in the range, but you need to hope that the percentage chance is there for him to actually do a bind. For Mizuki, he can bind people guaranteed, but he can only bind 2 people at a time, the 2 people with the lowest HP on his range. So this has a small bit of CC potential. It could even be a high risk one, but I'm not certain yet because I've never really seen people put him to use. It's an interesting skill, can be powerful. You can do things like bind knights now. You can use things like Carnelian skill too. You can use this particular skill. You can use more of the other operators who does bind as well. Interesting gameplay, fun skill, is a very fast skill as well. I enjoy the fact that this is SP cost 15. That is very, very fast of a charging time. Alright, so skill 2, pretty cool. Let's look at skill 3. Oh, there's an expand attack range skill. So skill 3 says Moon in the Water. 65 SP cost, initial SP is 30, and the duration is 30 seconds. So I suppose this is supposed to be a more monstrous killing skill. Expand attack range, attack plus 120%. That is very high. It means that his attack could go all the way up to say about 1,800, 1,000... Sorry, my bad, I was showing M1 just now. Attack plus 105% at rank 7. It means that his attack could go up to as high as 1,700 damage. 1,700 physical, pretty high. Talent 1 targets 2 additional enemies. So 2 more enemies will receive arts damage. So for 3 targets, they will receive 1,700 physical damage, and then they'll also receive about, say, 800, 900 arts damage at the same time. Take note, the attack interval is still freaking slow. It's 3.5 seconds per hit. Inflicts stun for 1 second to all of the enemies, I think. Oh no, inflicts stun for 1 second to only the enemies affected by his talent 1. So 3 enemies with the lowest HP. When attack hits less than 3 enemies... Oh! So if there are less than 3 enemies in his range, I think it's 2 enemies, 1 enemy, and no enemy, Mizuki will lose 15% of his max HP. That's a bit odd. So it will just lose and lose and lose? Or is it like a one-time thing? That's something that I won't be too certain about. I think it's like lose every time. Let me know if you have a confirmation of this. But however that it is, it's still interesting of a skill because it's quite a high DPS amount. Although 30 seconds, 3.5 attack interval, he'll only be hitting about 8 times with this huge damage. It would be great if you buffed him with someone that gives him ASVD, like say an Angelina, an Ark. People with attack interval buffing would probably make Mizuki a lot more viable. I like that he has a huge range. It means that he can wipe out a huge mob of enemies, like if you have 20, 50 enemies coming down the line. This person is probably very good for integrated strategies or Fungi Mist when you saw the Ursus Tetris map. That's pretty much what I'll put to it. Interesting skill, powerful enough, not exactly game-breaking, but still I would say there are the use cases for this to be in play. The SP cost is 60 by the way when you have it at M3, and then attack is plus 150%. So the loss in the max HP is lower, it's 12% max HP this time. And yeah, everything else is still the same. So all in all, I find Mizuki to be someone who is considered to be fun. He can make some of your gameplay very interesting. Is he considered like a new meta operator or someone that's crazy strong? You're gonna build him ASAP? Not necessarily, but if you like to have another good boy like Tequila into your account, I don't see why not to build Mizuki. He's definitely someone who could bring about new strategies that you have never encountered before. So that's that I'll say about him. Let's move on to the next operator, that is Chen Alter. Alright, the final climax of today's video, Chen the Holiday, the new limited operator that's added to the game. She's a spread shooter. Basically, she's the same archetype as Executor and Pinecone. Spread shooters are able to hit everyone in her range. It doesn't matter if there are 10 enemies, 100 enemies, they will hit everyone all together. So it's a pretty powerful trait already, and now we're seeing a 6-star variant of it. We're gonna see what she does. This is her art for her E1. And then her art for E2 is a L2D skin. It's an animated skin that you can put on your front page, and then you'll be admiring Chen Alter all day in your account. That's that. I would say it's a decent art. I know that there could be a lot of things like people not liking a summer operator appearing, but I give credits to what it is now. I would say that the art is very acceptable. I do like what it is. The E1 art though, I might enjoy the E1 art more than the E2, but E2 is L2D, so maybe I'll use that at the end of the day. This is the range of a spread shooter, the true AoE sniper. And then afterwards, let's scroll down, there's the DPS and AoE tag. Spread shooter archetype, attacks all enemies in range and deals 150% damage to enemies in the row directly in front of this unit. So if you see this range, this little row that I'm showing over here, like this one, these enemies will receive 150% more attack onto them. So it's a pretty strong attack modifier that's going on over there. The closer they are to the sniping power, the more damage they'll be taking. Alright, let's look at the potentials and the trust. So the trust is plus 80 attack, and then afterwards there's an attack power increase in potential as well, at potential 4 I believe, and then afterwards this one is potential 5 for the talent enhancement. So talent 1. Talent 1 states that when deployed, Chen's ammo type skills. Oh, so she has ammo as a skill. Ammo type skills are the same as Ash skill 2 if you are not aware of how to compare it. Toadifawns also have an ammo type skill. I think those two operators are the only one with such a thing. Her ammo type skills will have a 20% chance to consume no ammo. Other snipers with the same type of skills will have 10% chance to consume no ammo. So it basically means that if let's say you use an Ash, and Ash has like 30 bullets, right? There's a chance that Ash will not spend a bullet and she can strike even more in her skill. Same for Chen Alter, there's a 20% chance that she'll conserve her ammo and she's able to deal a little bit more extended power than before. So this is already a very powerful trait. We need to see what's her ammo type skill later on. Alright, and then her E2 states that ASPD plus 8. If the stage has water tiles, so water tiles will only be Obsidian Festival stages, and I believe it's the Doster's Holiday stages. Only these two type of stages has water tiles, and for that, her ASPD will be increased by 12. Alright, decent enough skill. If not, you enjoy plus 8 ASPD. Let's look at her Elite 2 stats. At Elite 230, her health is 2079, her attack is 689, her defense is 189, the DP cost is Pain. This is a huge DP cost. It's like an AoE caster amount. Ifrit is 33 DP, I believe, and then now Chen Alter is 32. She blocks one unit, you don't need to block people with a sniper. Attack interval is 2.3 seconds per hit. The redeployment time is the usual. Let me bump her all the way up to E2 maximum, by the way. So if you look at E2 maximum, the HP is 2501. For your note, 2500 is the damage of a Patriot Spear. So if you have Chen Alter at max level, and then a Patriot Spear comes down at her, she's actually gonna survive with still some HP left, because you need to consider the fact that she still has defense. She will still survive with about 200 HP, which is making her quite a busted operator already, because not a lot of ranged units can survive Patriot Spear. It's already amazing to see. That's a fun trivia to let you all know. Let's take a look at her skills. So for skill 1, skill 1 states that attack plus 70%. Apply trait effect to all enemies within attack range. Trait effect refers to the plus 150% damage to the enemies in the row in front. So it doesn't matter if it's just the row in front now, all enemies in the range will have the 150% damage taken. And then there's also the extended amount of plus 70%. This is an offensive recovery skill. It's a lot of SP required, if I could say. It's 5 SP. That's a bit too much of a charge time. Even if you bump it up to M3, it's still 5 SP. I would say that it's not all too nice. I mean, this is a 4 ammo skill, so when the skill is activated, she has 4 ammo that allows her to deal this 100% damage, but I don't like the charge time at all. I would say that it's better if you look towards like the other 2 skills that is around here. Let's look at her skill 2. Her skill 2 says Knight of Violet. SP cost is 20, initial SP is 12, it's a per second skill. Attack plus 80%, attacks create a layer of sticky liquid within attack range and lasting for 5 seconds. The sticky liquid inflicts minus 35% movement speed and minus 170 defense to ground enemies, which doesn't stack. So the charge effect is that she can gain 20 ammo with this skill. Upon skill activation, Chen will gain 8 ammo and the skill ends when all ammo is used. So this skill is a pretty powerful skill of its own, just at skill 2. The attack amount is increased quite decently and the sticky liquid helps quite a bit because when all enemies in this range can get minus 35% movement speed, that's like the level of a Elysium skill 2 M3. That's the amount of movement speed it reduces. It's about a rank 7 Saria on skill 3 as well. It's already quite a decent debuff giving to the enemies. And minus 170 defense, it's quite a strong amount as well. The minus 170 doesn't only apply to her. It also applies to all of the other operators applying damage to the same enemies in the sticky liquid. So it's decent enough. Cool skill that you can already use at Elite 1. I think we gotta look at skill 3 and then do a final assessment of what she actually does. Now for skill 3. Skill 3 is called Holiday Storm. Its SP cost is 55, initial SP is 30. Expand attack range as what you see over there. So 2 more tiles being added on the top and the bottom. So this tile and this tile. Attack plus 100%. So the attack can go all the way as high as about 1,600, I believe, because he does have the attack thrust. So yeah, 1,600, 1,700 attack. This is wait, hold on. That was E2 maximum. Let me lower it down. Yeah, so it's about 1,600 attack. Let's go on. The attacks deal 2 hits, applies trait effect to all enemies, so everyone will get the 150% damage increase going on over here as what you see in this trait. Alright, let's go back down. Attacks will create a layer of sticky liquid within attack range, kind of the same as skill 2, lasting for 5 seconds. But this time, the sticky liquid will inflict minus 45% movement speed and minus 220 defense to all ground enemies. This has a 32 ammo skill. Attacks consume 2 ammos and the skill ends when all ammos is used. If you don't know what this skill does and you cannot visualize it, when the event drops, borrow Chen Alter as a support unit. Once you borrow her, bring her into a stage, test her and use her. You will realize how freaking powerful this skill is. This skill is honestly one of the craziest skills to exist within Arknights right now. It's literally on the same level as, say, a Surtur. Like, Surtur can do a lot of things, Chen Alter can also do a lot of things. But you have to consider Chen Alter as more of a physical damage powerhouse and Surtur as an arts damage powerhouse. This skill is honestly wicked. It's just disgustingly strong. I think a lot of people need to get the feeling of it to really understand just how much of a monster this limited operator is. So that's pretty much what I'll put to it. Chen Alter, is she a worthy pull? I would say if you want someone strong in your account, go for it. This is one of the strongest operators you can get in the game right now. If you are not into the strong thing, you want to pull for fun, yeah, go ahead and do that. If you don't want to pull Chen Alter, that's perfectly fine as well. You do what you want, people will respect your choice. All in all, if I look at this entire banner as a whole, this banner is crazy strong. It's one of the strongest banners I've seen in a while. It's so full of fun new operators, fun new kits to understand. Every single one of them features some kind of new gameplay style, such as Tequila and Pluma. Mizuki is an extension to the Manticore Ethan archetype, and Chen is just one heck of a bastard character. Take the time to pull. There's a lot of free pulls that are given to you during this event. You might as well use them, try your luck, see who you can get, and then afterwards decide whether or not you want to build them. That's all that I'll put towards here. My answer to should you pull is yes, pull to your heart's content. And if not, please enjoy Dorsa's Holiday, our anniversary event, to the fullest. Be happy, celebrate with everyone, and I hope you guys have a great year of 2022 ahead. Alright, that's all from me in this video. I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.